So come into the greenhouse.
Ooh, the fan is going.
Yeah.
What is it? It's 83 degrees
Oh, we're
in here.
at 83 degrees. Wow. I'm amazed at the lettuce that is in this raised bed. They're really taking off within this, past 2 weeks. I've actually cut some of them and gave them to the ducks. So the lettuce, the mini broccoli, things are starting to really make some progress in here. The lettuce that's in these long tubs, however, they don't really seem to be growing very fast. I'm not sure why. I've given them even fertilizer, but I'm not sure what's going on with them. So if anything, if they just kind of remain like this, I'll just wait until it's warm enough to plant them out, as long as I could just keep them alive until April. Other things like this bok choy have been going crazy. They have really been getting bigger. These are a dark kind of red nasturtium. So I have nasturtium. I kind of was dreaming about these nasturtiums kind of trailing out. I had a nasturtium, of course, in a, not in the ground, but in a much larger box with a climbing rose, and it just climbed all over the place. I didn't even know nasturtiums got that big. But I have some nasturtiums growing in each of these pots. I have a lot of flower seeds in these trays here with the lids. So I have polar star chrysanthemum here. So these little sprouts are coming up. Things here are looking a little greener. I think the parsley's looking a little bit more up. The red romaine is looking really good. They're a little crowded and they want to be planted out, but it's not time yet. I grew successfully a lot of green globe artichokes. So I just put them in individual pots. This is yacon, which is like a South American tuber, which is a crisp and sweet tuber. It's very, very, there's a lot of water in it, and it sounded intriguing. So I got some of these plants and they're really taking off in these pots. And here's some cilantro. Oh, this is interesting. I didn't get cilantro. So, I guess plants just know when it becomes a certain temperature and they get also a longer amount of light. What looks like it's not going to grow at all will eventually come up, unless your seeds are no good. So I'm just waiting on these, but I have some pole beans here. I have some yarrow. I have some peas. Peas in a pod that actually I found drifted over here to our property from somewhere. And we have our rainbow chard. You can see like the different colors. Here's some yellow and some red ones, and I think there's just regular with the whitish stem too. So these guys, I just need to keep them kind of alive and growing a little bit. I have some arugula here, and then these are all different flowers up here as well. It looks like now our oh, this is so pretty. We're having our Jasmine officialis is starting to wake up and come out of dormancy. I'm not seeing much going on here. I hope it's not dead, but I have a hibiscus here that we kind of overwintered in the greenhouse, and I don't know if that was a mistake to do that. I don't know very much about hibiscus. We have a rambling red rose here. I think its name is Moore, of all things, Moore. And so I got that for like, I don't know, $5 or something. So we'll see what happens there. Here's some violet odorata. This is a strongly scented English violet. So we have here a little flower coming out right now. And I really want to see. I thought I got some last year or the year before, and I didn't notice the smell. But I'm going to see. we have a lot of voles that have the vole population on our property has gotten out of control. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to get rid of them. So no mercy, because they eat anything that is edible. So I lost a lot of plants, and in the spring I will not be surprised if a lot of plants that go, that die back don't come back because of the voles. Over here I'm growing a lot of annuals. So I have some Johnny Jump Ups. I don't know if that's an annual or a perennial, but most of these are annuals. Giant marigolds. I have a lot of cherry tomatoes that are coming up, and I just got the seeds from cherry tomatoes from the grocery store. I have a Malabar spinach, one seed that actually germinated and is doing well. Ooh. This one has some interesting, an interesting adult leaf here. Look at that. It's like, what is that, 6 leaves? This is white lupine, and I got 2 of those coming out there. It's a type of flower. What's this? This is Ms. Jekyll or Jekyll, and this is a Nigella. I've never grown Nigella before. I have some miniature sunflowers, and also I got some peppers that finally came out. I think it was just because of the temperature. These are sweet peppers from grocery store peppers that my husband threw out in the compost. So I just retrieved all the seeds from them. They were the yellow and red variety. So I got some plants from those peppers. Haven't had much luck with the Asian long eggplant. I don't know if I planted them too deep. I heard that if you do that, you could kill your seeds too. I'm really excited about this. I'm counting 4 purple passion fruit vines that I have grown from seed, from passion fruit that I got at Produce Junction. And the purple kind was delicious and big and beautiful. So I want to try growing a passion fruit vine in here, and maybe take one in a pot outside and see if it does better in the greenhouse, and one if it does better outside of greenhouse. And I planted some here, but none came up out of there. So, things are growing. Like these didn't come up until the last day or two. So this is sweet peas. These are poisonous. You cannot eat these, but these are grown for their very fragrant flowers. So I have never smelled sweet pea flowers in my life. So I'd like to have that experience. So those are moonflowers. I had grown some moonflowers earlier in the year, but they died because I, grew them too early. Here's a Tromboncino squash, way too early for it, and it's suffered from the cold. But I saved most of the seeds. I just put one in there, and I'm having great luck this year with Larkspur Imperial Mix from seed. I have never grown Larkspur from seed, but I'm getting a lot of germination here. And here's my sad little moonflower vine that died because I planted it too early. Over here, I have some things that I need to pot up or put in the ground. This was a small citrus plant. This is Citrus Frost Awari, which is a very cold-resistant Satsuma Mandarin orange. And these are bush magnolias. They stay really low. One is like a cream color, and one is a pinkish color, and they're called fairy magnolias. And they're not trees. They're actually like shrubs, low shrubs. So I kind of like that, and that they don't grow that big. Things are coming up really nicely up here. Here's one of the things. Let me grab them. Ta-da! Well, maybe not so great. Ooh, these are really small flowers. They're tiny. I could barely see them. Can you see there's one here and here and here? They're just the tiniest little flowers compared to the zinnias. These zinnias are big. These are giants compared to these little, what are these? Oh God. Easy wave. Oh, these are petunias. Wow. Petunias are tiny. So I'm trying to grow petunias from seed. Because I'd like to have a lot of those for a statue planter I have in the front yard. So I'm not sure if this is gonna work. They're so tiny. I have a bay plant that seems to be perking up a little bit. Yes, and this is the kind of Mediterranean plant that you use to cook with. And you make soups and you put in soups and such. So this is a bay plant. This is my poor aloe plant that has suffered multiple times beneath my care. And it's bounced back every time. So these aren't completely looking sad. So maybe it'll green up when the weather gets a little warmer, and I can put it maybe in the shade for a little bit, and then maybe put it out in sun later on, and it'll green up. But it really took on a lot of cold damage in the fall. So that's the news from the greenhouse. I have some decor. I got my little mushrooms painting that shows different edible as well as toxic mushrooms. Not everything on there is edible, so you should know that. Because you have to be careful. I think I'd be too scared to ever eat mushrooms from the wild. I would never, ever trust myself. I got this there's a lot of Easter decor at Home Goods right now, and that is the only time where you see ducks. There's a lot of chicks, a lot of rabbits, so you could get a lot of cute home decor that's not necessarily Easter. You don't have to have it mean Easter. And this was a little duck, and he's wearing a little raincoat with an umbrella. And I was sitting here when it was pouring rain one night, and this was like the perfect little decoration that reminded me of the rain. And then I have this little sweet girl here, and I'm gonna say she is not a duck, although she's probably a duck. I'm gonna say that she's Julia, my goose, because she has a little bit of an angular nose, and she just is so sweet. So, and she has her little gardening trowel. So, and she's got a big feet because she has her web feet, big shoes because she has her web feet in there, and her little butt, tushy tush. But she represents Julie and my goose. So sweet looking. So I'm not a person who's into like these little cutesy sweet things, but but this greenhouse has gotten me into these kind of cutesy little sweet things, like this sign, and of course my ducks are such sweet things, and you know, this kind of decor, anything that makes you feel like cozy, feminine, like I put in here. Okay, I've been crazy about like these footed planters because they're just so, you know, more elegant than the ones that just are like straight up and down. I like these footed planters, and these are actually from France. These are true Andes pots from the Madeleine pottery. And I got those, I think, from Ethan Allen of all places, and they were really well priced. I think they were blowing them out. But if you ordered from these potteries directly, or even people who carry this stuff, it is so expensive for these pots, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So it was a really good deal on these, and these are not that small either. So I have 2 small ones and 2 large ones, and they were being clearanced, you know, in the winter or in late fall, so I was able to get them at a good deal. And even if they weren't from France, I just really like these shapes. So that's what I have my jasmine in. And hopefully I could get the jasmine to kind of grow up the trellis here onto the pergola. I mean the pergola in front of the greenhouse. So Peter, my husband's been talking about maybe like doing a solar thing. So that's something that's in discussion. So I want to clarify that heating this greenhouse was a lot of money. It is not something I think we will do next year. We tried giant jugs of water, tubs of water, that's the kind that you collect rainwater in, the rainwater barrels, and they just looked ugly. So, we took that out. But then we bought a heater, and running that cost us, from what he has said, like $300 more added to our electric bill per month. I've heard people on YouTube say that it hasn't really added much to their electric bill, but I don't think that is true. I think that is completely false. It made a huge dent in a huge difference in our electrical bill, and I think that there's no real good reason to start plants that early. Like you don't need to start in January. You can maybe start in mid-February and not need the heat. But we just did it because this was our first year and we wanted to try stuff. But the cost was, not worth it. So I think next year we're not going to use the heater as much. We'll just use the heater for us if we're tooling around in here and then turn it off when we're leaving. But I think it's just really way too expensive. It's way too wasteful. And also the plants are just not going to grow very much anyway if you start way too early. So I think next year I'll just use nature, just use natural light and, grow a little later in the late winter, start the seeds for like the cold hardy greens and things like that, and not jump the gun so early that I need all this heat. I use the heating mat, which I think is amazing. I think I would use a heating mat and continue to use the heating mat because you can see just how much it makes I think it made a huge difference in the seeds. And I don't have to crowd, my own living space in my house with little IKEA greenhouses and things that I used in the past, which worked really fine. But then, we had no dining room table space or, it was just taking up too much space. So that's what the greenhouse is for. So I think I'm just going to time my seed starting much later than I did and not waste the electricity. I mean, I found that was very wasteful. So that's something that I learned. And it was just foolish to do that. And that's it. So word of warning about doing that. Other than that, I'm really enjoying hanging out in this greenhouse. It's just a really nice atmosphere. It's so relaxing. Sometimes it's tempting to just, get away and stay in here maybe too much. And I'm really not always doing anything. I'm just sitting here. So it's been a great thing to have. It's a great luxury to have, and I'm really enjoying it. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is start working on creating some flower beds outside the greenhouse, maybe toward our back door. I'd like to get some more flowers and have a little less lawn over there. Maybe I can kind of build up the soil and improve soil health. I think that's going to be my goal, and to start new flower beds, out by my back door. Like here, look, oh my God, look at this. So this is what I'm talking about. I put tons of green, like long beans in here. They did nothing, so I just thought, oh my God, they must have just rotted away in here. But it's just wasn't its time. And now they're probably all going to come out all along here, all my pole beans, all my pole beans. So some people call them pole beans, some people call them string beans, but I'm probably going to have them all starting to come up. So I realized, there's a time for everything. And if you think the seeds, you want to throw away a cup of dirt that you had seeds starting in, it may just not be the time that it's supposed to come up. There may not be enough light at that time of year. So you might have to just wait and hold on to those seeds and dirt until they really start showing up. And that's another thing I discovered. Maybe it's just not its time. So it's been a lot of it's been a good learning experience here. I hear somebody out here. Hello, who's out here? Hello, Casper. The ducks have been really, really curious about the greenhouse. I've only had one kind of cross the threshold into the greenhouse space because they're very, very frightened creatures. Here, let me just give them some lettuce. Fresh lettuce. They smell so fresh and green. Come here, babies. Come here, babies. Come here, babies. Hello, you must be Dolly. Yes, they're so delicious. From the greenhouse. This lettuce is thousands of dollars. Thousands. Here you go, Choro. Good girl. Some for Choro. Yeah, see that tail wag? She's so happy. You're a beautiful girl, Choro. So that's the tour and that's the update. And maybe the next video will be about, our new flower beds in the back, in the back of our, in front of our patio. Yeah, over there.
Is that necessary?
Yes, that's necessary. It's always necessary.